bolts, a little backing plate that I made out of, this is fiberglass. It's about 1/4 inch thick. I laid this up myself, did a vacuum infusion many years ago, and used the plate to cut it up. So it would be something like G10, but it's pretty solid stuff. So I'm going to use that as a backing plate. Let's see if we can get this to work. Get them threaded into the T-nuts before it pushes them out, which it probably will, but I've got some Gorilla Tape on the backside to try and hold them in place until I can get them screwed in. So what we got going here this morning, folks, is a little bit of plumbing. I hate plumbing with a passion, but it's got to be done. Just down here the other day I was struggling with getting the fuel transfer pump mounted. I originally wanted to use T-nuts on the backside, but that didn't work out, so I had to through bolt it, and had a little bit more work to do to that to isolate it. I have to make my own bolts. I can't get any long enough, so might have to weld some nuts onto some stainless. That's my starboard side diesel fuel tank, and had some expensive modifications done to it to get it ready to plumb in, and had these bosses put on for fittings, but I ran into an issue where I couldn't get a 5/8 90-degree elbow with 5/16 hose barb on it. So as close as I could get was 3/8 straight, and I couldn't find an elbow adapter. So I'm going to have to drill a hole in my very expensive tanks and tap it. This seems to be the thickest part of the plastic right here, so it's a low pressure return, so I should be able to tap it and put that fitting in. And I'm going to use the biggest drill I have, which is probably a bit too small, but we'll deal with that when it happens. I will have to clean this tank out before fuel is put into it, because there's already some junk in it from open fittings here, kind of thing going on. And then hopefully I can begin to plumb in my little selector valve thingy for the fuel return, and I'll see how that goes. So I'm just going to take a ballpark measurement here. It's 3 inches to the top, so if I go 1.5 inches, let's just mark this 1.5 inches. Hopefully I didn't get any junk in there, but deal with it when it's over. Seems to be sitting there and spinning. Let's see what I got for a slightly larger drill. Please excuse my sniffling. I'm definitely allergic to our cat. I don't have another step up and drill bit, so it appears that I'm going to have to force feed this tap into this hole with a crescent wrench. It's not ideal, but I got it. It's been a while since I've been out here. It's been heat wave after heat wave, RV project after RV project, and I found there just for a while my general lack of interest just went out the friggin' window. I think that happens to a lot of boat builders on these long-term projects. You just get tired of the same thing day in, day out, especially when it's sanding, which is a pain in the butt, but I still got a lot more to do. I want to get these tanks in. I want to get my cable runways done, my chase tubes in, that kind of stuff. So when I'm ready to start pulling wires and hoses and stuff, we'll be in good shape. This is exciting, isn't it? It's usually a sphincter tightening moment when you go to drill holes into some of the equipment on your boat. I was watching Baz the other day. He was cutting holes in the side of his beautiful hull to put his deck scuppers in, and yeah, it's just one of those moments. There we have it. I think that's going to be okay. I was able to get the fitting in, get the hoses on. The fuel line is 5/16 inside diameter. That was the standard, I guess, for the CNMAR engine. I measured them when before I bought the hose and everything. 3/8 would have been better, but it is what it is. We'll get her done. I managed to get one of my fuel water separators installed using the T-nut on the back side. I'm going to try and see if this side will cooperate and do the same. I've had them in there before. The T-nuts won't bed themselves in the fiberglass. It's too hard, so I've had to remove the fiberglass over top of the plywood so that the tongs and the T-nuts could dig in. So hopefully this will go as easy as the first one did. No, just fell out. Son of a bitch. So you always have an extra one on hand, just in case. Well, I think we caught her. Perfect. My fuel transfer pump's a little off center and a little cockeyed, but that doesn't matter. It's not going to hurt it. So I'm just puttering around here with all the components of the fuel system, and I just installed the one-way valve from the fuel pickup, and unfortunately that was a 3/8 inch hose barb. The rest of my fuel system is 5/16. So we have to put a reducer in. It's not a big deal. I'm going to use a primer bulb in the system here, and that will basically just hang down beside the tank so that I can prime the filters and prime the system, and they should be okay. Can always fix them somehow. I originally wanted to mount them vertically like that, but I don't think that's going to work too well. There's just not enough room to be able to get to it. So try a little bit of universal wiener sliding here. That did the trick. There's our hose clamp. These are all 316 stainless steel hose clamps, which I paid a small fortune for, but you gotta have them. The trick to these things is getting the little arrow pointed in the right direction, so we want fuel to come out and go that way, ideally. Otherwise, nothing's going to run. So we'll group up this end. If I sound like I'm breathing through my mouth, it's because I am. I've got pretty serious sinus infection that's been going on for a long time, and I can't shake it. So I just started steroids yesterday, and hopefully that will help get my sinuses cleared up, because I've had some real miserable days and nights. I can't breathe, stuffed up solid. No es bueno, as they say in Mexico. No es bueno. Yeah, I've been so sick for the last little while. It's probably been close to 2 months before I've actually done anything appreciable on the boat. I was having problems regulating my blood sugar, and then this sinus thing hit. It was kind of a double whammy. And then last week we went camping for a week, which was a nice break. And that's where we determined that I wasn't actually allergic to our long-haired black cat, which I thought I was. I thought it was just an allergy, but no, it was something else. So we called the doc yesterday, and he prescribed some steroids, which will take 2 or 3 days to kick in. So basically we have our fuel out going to the inlet side of the starboard filter, and then the fuel will come out from here. It will go to a T, which will join with this filter, and the T will go to the engine. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to mount that yet, but I've got lots of these little cushion hose clamp thingies. Got to come along here. Probably be able to lock it there, and then circle back to there. So I'm going to fix that 2 points before I cut the hose. Hope the audio is working on this stupid thing. It's giving me problems. bucks. Cool view. And then we need enough to circle back. So before we forget, I'll just pop another hose clamp on there real quick. Give this one a little pre-screw. A little bit of the wiener sliding. Those are hose clamp. Take that, you bitch. So I've obviously never done this before, but it all seems kind of Mickey Mouse because the parts are so small. But I'm guessing that's the way it is. I mean, the fuel line is 5/16, which apparently is normal size, so we'll just carry on. I guess I should be saying something. I don't know what, but I'll say it. This is the T. T goes in the hose. It's mounted up there. So the fuel comes through this line into the filter. This is the selector valve. That's off, that's on. We'll go to here. Tee off of here, we'll go to the engine. So I need to mount that right in there somewhere. And it might be a little trickier. It's amazing how quickly you run out of space when you start doing stuff like this. Would have been nice to have one of those 6-way valves. You just turn one, do the jig, and your whole world comes into alignment. But that was definitely out of the budget. Like I said, I'll probably end up tearing this all apart and doing it over, but for now it will suffice. Give me time to move on and do other things. I still have the whole other port side tank to rig, but it's a workbench at the moment. So once this one's done, I'll cover it up and switch everything over. I'd really like to get the main deck on this year, but I don't know. I've still got so much to do with running chase tubes and figure out where all the wiring's going. And I've started to buy some of the major electrical components. It'll be a full Victron system except for the inverter. I'm planning on lithium batteries. Seems to be the way to go. But I've got some lead time before I have to do that. I actually found a supplier that's only about 50 kilometers from here, so make a sojourn one day and see if you cut me a deal on some battleboard batteries. I know it's not very interesting, but that's boat building for the most part. A lot of relatively uninteresting stuff going on, so I know I'm not the most entertaining person in the world, especially when I'm not feeling good, but I'm generally a happy guy, and I'm just hilarious when I'm drunk, or so I'm told. I'm sure if you look around Facebook, you'll find a few good examples of that. I'll move this one. Move it down this way. So I can put the other one right beside it. Won't screw that yet. Yeah, you have to screw that. clamp. So there's a little close-up. That's kind of what it looks like. It'll work. It'll be functional. Fuel in starboard side, fuel in port side. Come in here. These are your selector switches for on and off. Not sure I like these hoses touching, but I'll put some rubber in between them and zip tie them. And this is the little Y valve I'll use for the return diesel, directing the return diesel from the engine back into the propane tank. So if this was a setup running off the port tank, it would be like that. So I don't know where I'm going to mount that. It's probably going to be over here somewhere. So anyways, I don't feel very good, so I'm going to wrap this up, and I'll go try and make a movie of the footage that I have. So thanks for looking in. Thanks for sticking with us. Take care. Bye.